Thank
Hi.
you for coming.
Thank you for asking me.
So we're focused on Methodist Town. I'm going to ask you some simple questions first, and then we'll get into your story.
Okay.
May I have your name, please?
Altermease Williams,
Okay, may I have your birthday?
8/8/1945.
Oh, I'm in August as well.
Are you good?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you spend your whole life in Methodist Town?
Yes,
Can you tell me about that?
it was wonderful. Our Methodist Town community was loving and caring. We were raised in families that if the next door neighbor needed something, then you accommodated the neighbor. My grandmother, Mrs. Hattie Lilly, was the missionary for the whole neighborhood. She was just loving and kind and dedicated. Our home was happy. We were poor. We didn't know it. My grandmother took care of us and other people in the neighborhood. So we were good.
Can you give me a specific example that sticks out to you about your grandmother taking care of someone in the neighborhood?
Yes, definitely. Our neighbors, some of our neighbors were not as fortunate as our house was. And if they needed anything, they would ask Miss Lily, and she would always accommodate them. That's just the truth.
How did that influence you growing up?
It influenced me a lot because I could see the goodness in her. She always had an open heart. She always had a good spirit. We didn't know if things weren't going well. She would just take care of everything. We didn't know if we couldn't pay the utility bill or the grocery bill or anything. She'd say, go see Mr. Gregory, go see Miss Burt at the grocery store. Tell her to put it on the book. And that's what we did. So the influence of the whole neighborhood, I mean, we were just a community that loved each other. We took care of it. We still do. Even when things happen now, for one of us that was raised on the north side, we're there. We're there. We do everything that we can for each other.
Tell me a little bit about your childhood home.
That was my childhood home at 282 Jackson Street North. I can't say it enough. We were blessed. It's as simple as that. We were just blessed.
Did you have siblings?
Yes.
How many?
My sisters are Alicia and Sheila. We all lived together. Goliath, he was in the house too. So that's it.
Great. Where did you go to school for elementary school?
Davis Elementary.
Can you tell me about that?
It was good because the teachers at Davis, some of the teachers at Davis were neighbors in the Northside community. So we had to be on our best behavior at all times. If we were not, when we got home, our parents already knew that we had misbehaved. So it was good. It was a good school for us. We walked to school every day. There was no problem. We didn't have anything against each other like the kids do today. And we had to study. When we would get home from school, we could not just not do homework. If there was something that we needed to do, we had to do it. That's it.
And so, as Mr. Davis was saying, the teachers were at school and they were also in the neighborhood. And so the importance of education kind of followed you whether
Yes.
you were in the classroom or not.
Or not.
And how did that influence your life?
It just taught us the importance of being educated, that we just could not. We were poor, but we didn't know it, but we knew there was something else out there that we needed for ourselves. And the education part was something that we had to do. All of the kids on the north, we had to go to school. There was no such thing as not wanting to get up or not wanting to participate or not wanting to go to school. That just didn't happen. We all went to school. We had to.
I just kind of wish my kid felt that way right now. I want to picture your block and what the houses look like, maybe a typical summer day. Can you paint that picture for me?
What our houses looked like. Our house was beautiful. yellow and white. Clean. The block was the same. Every house had something pleasant about it. The neighbors were pleasant with each other. We had a dog called Duke that would sit on the front porch every morning, and everybody would speak to Duke. And he knew who they were. Every morning, it was pleasant. It was decent. The block was a happy block. Neighbors got along with each other. That's it.
Great. Mr. Davis also talked about what happened before desegregation and after. Can you tell me a little bit about that from your perspective?
Some of it, I wish they had just left us alone, because I think some of our siblings and their children would be better off. I have to go along with everything Goliath said, because that's the way it happened.
You said some of the siblings and children would be better off. Tell me how.
Yeah, let me see, how can I don't want to say that they didn't do well, but I just think they could have done a whole lot better if we had just left us alone on the north side. It was said at one time that nothing good came from the north side. Look at that. Look at what he did coming from the north side. So, and we do have other people that did very well, and some that not so much.
Tell me about some of your favorite businesses in the neighborhood and places you like to go.
We had Mr. Fats had a little place that we could go, and we could dance and have ice cones and meet there and play music and all that kind of stuff on the corner. Everybody used to go there. Everybody had fun there. If you needed food, you went to Mr. Gregory's grocery store. Miss Burt was always there. If you needed anything, everybody was accommodating.
I'd like to talk about your grandmother a little more. So she was out in the community making sure everyone was taken care of. Does that mean you had a lot of people coming to her as well?
Mm-hmm. She was home, but if you needed her, she would come to you. She was, I wish I could be more like her. Can't talk about her without, but anyway, she worked at St. Paul Rectory, which was the Catholic, what was that thing go? Catholic Rectory, yes. And she worked hard, but every morning we had breakfast. And I don't mean sandwiches, I mean grits and eggs and bacon. Every morning. Every day we had dinner, we had real food. She cooked. Our clothes were always clean, washed, hanging. Perfect. I know we won't ever find another Hattie Lily. But, and everybody in the neighborhood knew that about her. So if they needed something, they would come to her. She'd make it happen.
Yep. It's beautiful. Wait just a second. Okay. Tell me where you played as a child.
In the front yard, on the front porch, in the backyard, down the street, anywhere we wanted to play was safe. But when it started getting dark and the street lights would come on, we didn't have to be called to come inside. We knew we needed to be home, and my grandmother used to say by dark 30. She said dark 30, and we knew that. So no one had to tell us what time to be home. No one had to tell us what time to get out of the street. We could play in the street. You know, nobody would, it was just safe. It was safe.
Great. That's it that I have prepared. But is there anything that we haven't talked about that's important to you?
The neighborhood, the north side itself was a good place for us. And like I said, we still communicate with each other. We still love each other. If there's anything that any of us need, we let someone from the north side know. We get it. It just happens.
Great.
That's
Perfect.
the north side.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.